Well, back with my superstar pack, I want to read you a tweet from Kanye West. It's led to him being deplatformed from various social media entities overnight. He said, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEATH-CON 3, and he spelled death, D-E-A-T-H, Con 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew. Also, you guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone, whoever opposes your agenda. His Twitter account's now been removed, his account's been locked. So, Paula, my question for you is twofold, really. One, is it right that he's been platformed? And two, when he says, I can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jewish too, what do you make of this?
OK, so answer to your question, number one, absolutely he should have been deplatformed. What he was saying was completely out of order, completely inappropriate, broke every policy that any normal, natural human being would want in place in terms of protecting you, in terms of any racism, prejudice. So absolutely right to have deplatformed him. Can I just add a B to that? This man is clearly not well.
Right.
Why is no one seeing this?
Yeah, I think people are seeing it.
Just heartbreaking.
Yeah, they are seeing it.
Watch this.
Yeah, right. Listen, I agree. But Emily, the problem is he's got millions and millions of followers on social media. He is clearly going through some kind of episode, I think, from his behaviour in the last few days. So is there a responsibility there for the social media platforms to make that kind of judgment call about people in the public eye who might be having some sort of episode?
I think that's a very hard thing to get into, because then you're asking them to start judging what someone's mental state of mind is. So I don't.
Is
think
it right that he's been?
I think because of what he said, yes, it's purely anti-Semitic. I don't see how that if they allowed that through, we can't then complain when they allow sort of, you know, we've just had a case where they've Meta's been accused on Instagram of allowing a young girl.
Well, this young girl, Molly Russell. I've just written a column about it.
You can't have one and not the other just because he's famous.
Wilfred, we actually had children at the same school, so we go back a long way. This Molly Russell case has been very close to my mind with the Kanye incident, actually, because I do think social media companies have got to be a lot tougher now about what they allow to be put in their platforms. Because, for example, when I ran a newspaper, if you publish something like this in your newspaper, you'd be in serious regulatory trouble. So it seems to me they have no choice. But there are people all over social media today saying, what about his right to free speech? If he wants to say that, why can't he?
I don't believe in censorship, so this sounds very controversial, but I don't. Because one of the things that struck me was the interview you did with Andrew Tate.
Right.
And I just think what we need to do is that we need to trust people to be making the decisions rather than somebody else saying, we don't think this is good enough for you to see.
Okay, so let me put you to the test, all right?
Okay.
So imagine if I started tonight's show by saying, I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going DEATH-CON 3 on black people.
Okay, so what I would do...
What would you say?
Now, hold on a second. So what I do, I would say, my editor would say, right, we're going to put this programme in, and then you'll have an announcement. There may be things in this programme that some people might find offensive.
I've done it live.
Well,
Twitter's live. He's just put it up.
Wilfred.
By the way, he hasn't done DEF, D-E-F. He said D-E-A-T-H. That's a clear threat.
But there are
If I had said that about black people, in fact, any type of people, but black people, for example,
Piers.
I don't think your view about don't censor it would have stretched that far, would it?
People will know there are certain people that's going to be controversial. They come and they're going to
Doesn't mean they can say whatever they want. Well, that's not what free speech it means.
Well, I'm not talking about free speech at the moment. What I'm talking about censorship. You will know that there are certain people that's going to have a view. So if you decide to listen to that person knowing they have a view, well, that's your problem. What I want to do is that I want to leave it to people to make their decisions rather than some authority.
But that means anyone can say anything they like on social media. Is that your position?
And Wilfred, you can't have it both ways. You said Nicola Sturgeon needed to dial down on the rhetoric.
Well, yes, but she's a politician.
She was sent to
That's what I'm
test.
saying.
Now we have this man.
She has nowhere near as much influence as Kanye
Exactly,
West, right?
exactly.
But do we know he has influence?
With young black males?
Yes, huge influence.
Because people are... It's a bit like Andrew Tate. I go back to that interview
again. He has huge influence. That's why I interviewed him.
Well, and therefore, people making decisions based on whether this guy was talking sense or not.
Right.
Do you think most of the people who saw that interview would have thought this guy was right in their head?
OK, but Emily, let's come back to Emily. On this, it seems to me this is a clear threat he's making here. We don't know what the reality of that threat is, but I'm going DEATH-CON, spelled D-E-A-T-H 3, on Jewish people. I just don't think that should ever be allowed in a public social media platform. And they're private companies, they can do what they like. And I would normally be hot on the case of censorship. But to me, this is just pure hate speech.
I think it is. I mean, not I think, it is. And as I said earlier, I don't think you can have one rule for one person because they're famous, and we're all sitting there going, fine, we all know it's Kanye and not feeling very well.
I agree.
Because then how can, when Molly Russell's dad took the case against Meta for why his daughter was seeing these images, which they believe then led to her committing suicide, you've then got no protection.
Absolutely.
And so that is
I think that's the
problem.
But look, it's really when you have extreme arguments, it's very easy. But you know, it's for me, who decides what is censored?
I think honestly, anyone that reads that from someone like Kanye West, that to me crosses a line.
It's
and I'm
not
a huge
it's not
defender
a difficult
of free
question
speech.
to answer. We decide.
If you're blatantly racist or anti-Semitic, you're encouraging hate.
there
we
is a
decide by whether we actually listen, whether we watch, rather than somebody says you are not allowed to watch that and saying that.
I hear the point, and I've argued that many times myself. There has to be a line, though. There has to be a line.
Who decides on the line?
Well, I think we all know what anti-Semitism looks like when you're making threats against Jewish people, and we know the history.
But we have laws as well that you can't wander around the street yelling racist or anti-Semitic things. So it follows that Twitter, which essentially is a platform which allows you to shout at lots of people, that there's got to be some of those same laws in place.
We've got the